Because a lot of our clients, right, when they come to us, we obviously recommend all the suppliers. We book you quite a bit. Yeah. But one of the things they say to us is like, can you send us the DJ's profile or Instagram? And I'm like, why? What possible information or video, like what do you need to see from a DJ? Do you get asked that?
We love getting the songs or the vibe and everything in advance and having a chat just to figure out. We don't need everything, obviously we know what to do. But just a reference, I like to know the age group of the guests coming, you know, where they're from, you know, those kind of details which help us also pick what, you know, what could work.
I think this is the difference between like we've got a lot of suppliers in Bali and you guys, I would say you're up here and then most of the suppliers are here and then a lot that are down here. And I think the difference between the here and here level is when those songs come through, you're going to pick that up and you're going to go, hey guys, probably not the best vibe for what we do. And you pick that up. Whereas the ones down here are like, okay, no problems. And I think that's the main difference when you're booking your suppliers. Like there are incredibly amazing suppliers that do sit in the top tier. And then when you go mid-range, they're good, but there's just little bits and pieces that would not be picked up.
I actually pretty much refuse not to do weddings without a planner.
I love to hear that.
So
why?
Important.
Explain why.
You have to have one. So a direct booking, I would say, who's your planner? That would be my first question, like if they come direct, because quite frankly, it's too stressful without one.
And what people don't realise, and this was the biggest complaint we've had in the last year, was we're going to bill you for every area you want your band in. Because you need to come in and you need to sound check. We can't pick up that equipment and move it because there's not enough time to get everything perfect.
It's always the most underestimated, but eventually the most crucial.
Some people don't book a DJ, they might have like a band for a few sets and then they just make playlists. But my biggest thing is
for example, on the wedding on Saturday, just gone, they just had their own playlist and we heard the same song probably like 5 times that night. They were like, is this song on again? Yep, okay. Hi and welcome back to another episode of Bali Weddings Unveiled. I'm Tristan. And I'm Britta.
And today we have some very special guests in the studio that I think we're all going to be very happy about. So we'd like to introduce you to DJ Arshad, or just Arshad, is that weird?
Good morning.
DJ Arshad.
Good morning.
And we also have the beautiful Lydia from Lydia Rose Band.
Yes,
Is that the official name?
Gypsy?
We just call her Lydia Rose, really,
Lydia.
don't we?
Yeah, I've got a few names.
Gypsy
The
song.
Gypsy Songstress,
Yeah.
Lydia Rose, Lidsey, you know.
It's a bit of a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag.
Amazing. So thank you for joining us in the studio today.
Thanks for having us.
So we are basically going through the episodes. We're kind of going to do an interview with a supplier once a month at least. So we've already kind of touched on hair and makeup. We're basically moving through the key suppliers, hair and makeup, photo, video. We've done celebrants and now we're moving on to the entertainment section. Something me and Britta are going to touch on in the next episode, guys. I know that a lot of you are watching at home and as soon as we interview someone, you're like, that's who we want for the wedding. We do have a lot of suppliers, but we can't fit them all in the studio. So we will be interviewing a lot of people along the year. So just keep that in mind. Although if it was my wedding, you two are the ones that I'd want.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, so privileged.
Yes.
When I
Yeah,
one day
baby.
get married. Or maybe a 30th birthday or something.
We do have your 30th coming.
Oh, perfect.
We do know how to throw
We
a
need to
party.
talk.
We need to talk.
Just quietly.
Is it next year, the year after?
Next year.
Next
All right.
3-0, the big
All
one.
right.
Amazing. So first of all, we're joined by Arshad, who's a DJ, been working in Bali. Gosh, how long have you been in Bali now for?
13 years now.
13 years.
I moved here 13 years ago. Before Bali, it was 2 years in the Caribbean. So I'm from the Netherlands. You might hear from my accent. And I was at some point I thought like to broaden my perspective and travel around the globe.
How
And eventually,
did you end up here?
one of my best friends has lived here already for 20 years.
Wow.
And he's actually been pulling my arm for quite a while.
Was that
back
Bruce or
then.
somebody else?
No, Kevin.
Oh, okay.
Kevin, and he was one of the first, as far as I know, one of the first wedding DJs here in Bali. And he got.
Is he still here?
He's still here, but he doesn't DJ anymore.
Oh, okay.
He went into the corporate direction. He handed over
Less
the-
hours, you know.
less
bit
hours,
easier.
and they were like, you do the job. So that's more or less how I ended up in Bali.
Amazing. And we're like, I obviously know you from Global as well because you work with Global quite a bit. What was kind of the first wedding on the scene here back then?
Actually, Global was my first wedding.
Of course it was.
I was going to say.
It was Global, Beyond, and can I say any company names?
Yeah,
of
course you can.
Okay, Global, Beyond. Beyond doesn't exist anymore, and BW. They were the first
Beyond
three.
Events, was that Brett? Or was that a different Beyond? I feel like there's a few different company names.
Can't remember. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But because Kevin, he received so many bookings.
Yeah.
And eventually they were looking for an alternative option, and he took me on board. And eventually all the wedding planners were like, wow, we have two amazing all-round DJs here now. Hence,
So good.
it went word of mouth went to the other wedding planners.
Yeah.
And within a year, I just
Busy.
set my profile. It was like busy, just going skyrocket.
Yeah.
And then eventually you do a few celebrity weddings or a wedding that benefits your profile, and then I'm not sure if I can say, but
I feel like we can talk about it now because Global have already spoken about it.
I did the wedding for what are the names again? The owners of Bali Bible,
Oh, yes.
and that more or less skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Jasper? My profile.
Simon and Lani.
Simon,
and
yeah.
Lani,
Yeah.
yes.
My friends. I did
Yes.
Lani's 40th birthday
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. So
Nice.
that was
So, but I wasn't totally not aware about their position in the market. Like, yeah, whatever, Bali Bible, this is what it is. And they said, how can we promote you on our channel? Like, fine. It's only my name, my profile was on there with an email address. And like within 2 weeks after their wedding, it was just like
Yeah.
I've never seen anything on their wedding. Was that a while ago?
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Okay, it might have been before I was here.
2014, I think.
That was the year before I got here. Yeah.
Yeah, just
13 or
before I
14?
arrived.
Actually, I arrived in May 2014. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah,
So
2014.
more or less took off.
Wow.
And a few celebrity weddings that also helped with
The marketing.
with the marketing.
Did you do Jen Hawkins' wedding with Global?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yes, and Tones and I.
Yeah, well, we were there.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about this previously on the podcast, but we couldn't talk about it. But
Yeah.
now Global have spoken about it. Britta and I helped out on that wedding, which
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah, it
That was an
amazing.
epic day.
Amazing wedding, beautifully
She
set
was
up.
so lovely.
Yeah, she was fun.
Very normal.
Yeah.
Very normal.
Very normal. I think she came out with just like a robe on and a
No, this
towel around her head, and I
white
was just like,
jacket.
oh. This is a bride.
No, that's right.
Yeah, I was actually just to do the intermezzo, so she was supposed to perform with a band, and eventually I was playing the whole night.
Oh, was she? I didn't know
Yeah,
that she was meant to
didn't.
have performed with the
Yeah, she
band.
didn't
Yeah.
perform. No, the whole band setup was in front of my nose,
Yeah.
and they didn't manage.
I remember we were hiding back there being like, yee. Amazing. And Lydia, how did you end up in Bali?
Oh gosh. Well, I was living in Europe, so I was in Ibiza performing over there, which is another obviously wedding kind of fun party island. But I just wanted to change. I wanted to be closer to home, to Australia. So I was looking. I'd never been to Bali before, and I thought Europe was where I wanted to be. And then I realized, hang on, I need to be closer to my family, and just decided to move here and took a chance and just got off the plane. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I had my kitas already, and it was in the works.
So wait,
but I didn't have the band.
You had never been to Bali?
Never been to Bali.
Wow.
Never
Holy
been.
moly.
And I applied for my kitas and I landed, and then I just thought, I need to find a band. So I just remember walking down this, the beaches to all those, those guitarists that play on the beaches in like Seminyak or like going down to Legion. I'm like, where am I going to find? I went on the Facebook, which was the main thing at that time.
Yeah, it's still kind of
It was
is.
about 10 years ago. And I went on Facebook and I was like posting like just on the expat community groups and the Bali musician groups, and can anyone help me? And there was all these responses like, you can't work here. You know how they get.
Yeah.
really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
You've
Everyone
got
wants
to
to
have your
attack you.
kitas. And I said, I do. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. And then the rest is history. I fell in love with it. And it was nothing like what I imagined. Bali is so much, even more beautiful than I imagined. So
Was there a lot of culture shock coming from a European country into Bali and just like straight off living here without ever holidaying here?
Yeah, but because I'd already lived overseas for quite a long time, it wasn't so hard to, I guess, transition. But definitely like Southeast Asia versus Europe is quite different. But yeah, I think with me, I'm not a very patient person.
You need so much patience to live here. Really, you
You
too?
need a bit of patience.
This is why you're not wedding planners.
So
You're
this
cray-cray.
is-
We
Yeah, I
love to
think
work together.
patience. Patience was the main thing I had to learn, and I still don't think I've quite nailed that. But I'm definitely getting better. 10 years in.
It does so good. Do you remember your first wedding you did here?
Yeah, and it was actually a global wedding.
Was it? Yeah.
Wedding.
Wow, that's a proper marketing.
Was it you two together?
No.
No, it
Was
wasn't.
2012 was my first wedding here too. She arrived later.
Yeah, I arrived a few years
And
later.
I remember we had a few phone conversations.
We
because she-
did.
trying to
Yes,
find
we
the-
did. I needed some advice.
Yeah.
I needed some advice on certain things. But I just remember, and it wasn't booked through Global. It was actually booked because I did a wedding in the Philippines at, where was I? I can't remember. In the Philippines, beautiful island.
Yeah.
One of my friends' weddings, and someone saw me there.
Yeah.
And then they heard that I was moving to Bali. So a friend of mine, she booked me here, and she just happened to have Global Weddings as their planner.
Wow.
So that's how I met them, and then we've all been working together ever since. So
Love that.
yeah.
Where was your first wedding?
Gosh, I can't. It's Analea. I think it's Analea
Oh,
Beach House.
nice.
I think.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
beautiful there.
Yeah.
Canggu wouldn't have been that developed back then either.
Oh,
There would have been nothing
there would have
there.
been nothing out
Yeah.
there.
There were a few estates in Canggu. Sorry, it's more Seseprano.
Yeah.
There were a few.
But
for
there
that.
wouldn't have been like the restaurants and all, like
No,
that
no,
street now is
no.
cray cray.
No,
Yeah.
totally
it's
different
wild.
surrounding back then.
Yeah, exactly.
And so from a entertainment point of view, where would the majority of your clientele come from? Is it from wedding planners? Is it from hotels? Like, how do people find you? I know that you've got your Instagram.
I do.
I have you guys.
You got it. You got us.
Exactly.
Mine is mostly through the wedding planners.
Yeah.
They've been able to market my qualities and
Yeah.
my services, and that actually helped me a lot. And actually, that also, hence, I didn't actually market or brand myself.
Yeah. How do people get in, like if someone was to book you directly, I know how I contact you, but how do other people contact you?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Maybe sometimes through other couples that had
Yeah.
their
So like
wedding
email,
here, they were
WhatsApp.
mostly email.
Yeah.
I just wait with WhatsApp just to find a moment that I feel more confident to share a number. We need to have a verbal communication about some musical input or whatever, then mostly over email.
Because a lot of our clients, right, when they come to us, we obviously recommend all the suppliers. We book you quite a bit.
Yeah.
But one of the things they say to us is like, can you send us the DJ's profile at Instagram? And I'm like, and we've spoken about this, but I'm like, why? What possible information or video, like what do you need to see from a DJ?
Well,
do you get asked that?
Yes, but then I have to explain to them that my actual profile is different than we just relate to the wedding market, because I'm so versatile with my music.
Yeah.
And what you actually see in my profile is more
Cool
electronic dance related, not just more electronic dance related. So it doesn't sync with what they would require for their wedding. So hence just like more or less having a verbal communication and just explain what I do and how we work and just how many weddings I've done on the island and more or less the
You just need to say, I'm amazing and I give the best hugs.
Really?
The last one, yes, but I will never say about myself that I'm amazing. I'll let
You know
others
what
to
we-
decide it for me.
You know what we say to all of our clients? It's like, you need an Arshad cuddle. Oh,
They're like a
It's the
warm
best.
ray of sunshine, and every wedding, if you've ever seen Arshad show up at a wedding, like me and Britta drop all our belongings and we're like,
I think Nadia and Tom last
I
year.
know.
Nadia and Tom last year at Pandemic Clipper Sale was saying to Tom, I was just like, Tom, you need a hug from us.
Oh, and he
was
did.
like, "What?"
He did.
And then he dropped everything as well, and he had a big cuddle,
Remember,
and I was
like,
like,
oh, yeah, right.
and he was like, oh, that is the best.
I've got to say, like, this has nothing to do with weddings, but I think you give the best hugs I've
So
ever
what should I
Absolutely,
be?
I
DJ
agree.
Huggy Bear, or should I call myself?
Oh, DJ Huggy Bear.
You get a nickname?
Yeah.
I love that.
DJ Huggy Bear, exclusive to Bali.
With an additional fee?
Absolutely.
Unlimited cuddles.
As all the guests walk in,
But not
guests
for my-
walking through
not
the
for my
door,
inner
everyone gets a
circle.
hug and the bride.
It's not for my
You know
inner
the beautiful
circle,
neons
though.
you put at weddings? I'm going to get a free hugs one, put it on the DJ.
Oh my
booth.
god! That will be. Oh my god! Or just allocate just 1 hour. Just
Yeah.
He just stands there.
okay. Well, it's gonna happen now, marketing-wise.
Yes,
We're gonna book him in as well.
Just for the hugs.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I love to give hugs.
You like
Love to
honestly,
receive them.
we said
from you.
before today, we're like, how do we capture like Arshad walking in and getting that hug on camera? And then we're like, maybe Lydia needs to have one. I don't know if Lydia's had a proper one. And then I forgot that you guys have known each other for years.
course.
As soon as you walked in, I've got a photo. I'll
Wow.
put it up. I'm just
straight
like,
away.
the hug
Straight away.
Hugs
Yeah.
in the situation. He's like, I don't know where to go first.
I think that
I'll
was filming
send-
behind the scenes.
It was a bit of a challenge. Like, okay, Brit, Clit,
Who first?
Who first?
Yeah. But you know what? I'll send you a message if we have a gig together the night before, and I'll be like, okay, just prepare yourself for a big hug. Like, I'll literally send him a voice note just to make sure. I'm like, I need one this week more than ever. And then
I
like,
received them in return from you ladies as
Yes,
well.
that's true.
It's not just.
Yeah. Do you know what I did a while ago? Because like the suppliers never read our run sheets properly, half of them. So literally on the run sheet, I put on my run sheet and sent it through. And Asha was like, I'm ready for big hugs. And I was like, DJ Arshad arrives. Big hugs.
I think
He's the only one that saw it. He was like, "Are we ready with my hugs?" So for you, I guess it's just a word of mouth, a trust thing. So guys, like if you're listening at home and we say to you, you need DJ Arshad, just trust us, please. You don't need to see an Instagram or him mixing songs. I don't know.
Freaking fantastic.
I understand when it comes to bands because you want to see how they sing, you want to see how they vibe. With a DJ, as long as they can like get your vibe, mix the music, take requests, and just be like a fun person.
Yeah, and just understand their requirements.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing because I need eventually it's their most beautiful day, one of their most beautiful days.
Yeah.
And I just need to accommodate.
Yeah.
So giving clear guidelines just helps us and also Lydia to create the evening.
Yeah, speaking of that, we had a band situation recently, and they wanted them during party time, and everything ran late, right? Completely out of my control. We were just running late, and the band was supposed to be on party time, and then the band comes on like 10:15, and I'm like, okay, guys, let's go some upbeat songs. And the bride was there's this song sets that you're playing, so they started playing. She comes over to me, she's like, this song wasn't on my playlist. I was like, okay, and back to her playlist. And she had picked all slow songs.
Yeah.
We did not have a dance floor. I'm like, do we want to put the DJ on? No. And we had no dance floor.
Yeah.
No party songs.
It's a difficult one. So when I see the rundown for these kind of things, I automatically, if I see something like that and I see their song list, I'll give you guys a call or give the client a call. Usually I have a direct conversation with the client prior to the wedding anyway to run through this stuff. But yeah, there's a difficult thing. We love getting the songs or the vibe and everything in advance and having a chat just to figure out. We don't need everything. Obviously, we know what to do.
Just a reference.
But just a reference, I like to know the age group of the guests
Where
coming,
they're from.
you know, where they're from, you know, those kind of details which help us also pick what could work. But usually, even in my contract, it says we love the song request and we stick to that as our guide. Yeah. But please note, we are able to add in other songs depending on the vibe and the moment. Because that gives us a bit of room for movement. Yeah.
We had that one wedding together last year and I felt so bad for you. I think I sent you home early because the bride and groom knew what they wanted, but their guests were completely different. We didn't have anyone on the dance floor, remember? Because they wanted it was an islander wedding at Wonderland. Remember that couple?
Yeah.
And the guests kept coming up to me and being like, when do we get reggae
the
songs?
that they wanted was as like
but the couple picked the songs. They loved it. But their guests completely different vibes.
They really all wanted like reggaeton or like and reggae and we can do that to a certain extent. Yeah. But also we had the DJ booked for afterwards. So it was like we transitioned and then they could play all that stuff. But you've really got to look at your band that you're booking and see what kind of songs they do before. Yeah. You know, and they loved us, and they sent me a message the next day, and they said all that stuff.
Very different.
They were just requesting all these songs that were absolutely. Our song list is maybe 1,500 songs. We do a lot of songs, and we can convert any song into a reggae kind of style.
And you've got different languages as well. Like I've seen you sing in other languages.
Of course, like in Hindi and in Mandarin and in Indonesian and in French and Spanish and Italian and all these languages.
Wow.
But sometimes the genre,
it just doesn't match.
And it's completely not like your fault at all. Like they were very happy, but it was just the guests, different vibe.
Just so when they want to request, at a certain point, you're like, well, it's not really my style.
The DJ can do it though.
The DJ can always do it.
But it can be challenging for a DJ as well, even for a live performance. I mean, if the client asks, being persistent about like, this is my playlist, play accordingly, and exactly what she's saying. It doesn't impact relate to the guest. What do we do then?
I think this is the difference between like we've got a lot of suppliers in Bali and you guys, I would say you're up here and then most of the suppliers are here and then there's a lot that are down here. And I think the difference between the here and here level is when those songs come through, you're going to pick that up and you're going to go, hey guys, probably not the best vibe for what we do. And you pick that up. Whereas the ones down here are like, okay, no problems. And I think that's the main difference when you're booking your suppliers. Like there are incredibly amazing suppliers that do sit in the top tier, and then when you go mid-range, they're good. Yeah. But there's just little bits and pieces that would not be picked up.
Yeah. So many of the local suppliers, I think we've touched on this before. They just say yes.
Well,
but they don't really understand.
The band that I had on the weekend, they booked directly, so I didn't really have anything to do with it. But I did get sent through the playlist of songs, but because I didn't book it, I'm not looking over that. Like you book them, you know what you want, great. So when I went up to the band and was like, hey, upbeat, they're like, there's no upbeat songs, and I was like, what do you mean? And then I get the list and I'm like. And the most upbeat song on there was Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way.
Oh my God.
And Shania Twain, that don't impress me much.
It is a banger.
Those are the most like upbeat songs.
But yeah, it's not It's not
But,
going to get
when they got the list, they were like, sure, no problems, we can do that. But they didn't factor in that they were playing during first dance onwards, which is party time. Like, that's a dinner set. That's fantastic for dinner or like moving into the party time, but not so much the party time.
So they don't do their research or really ask the client the requirements.
Yeah, and the band was amazing. Like, I love them. They're one of my favorite bands, but they didn't have that level of experience to be like, hey guys, like maybe you need to pick different songs, or maybe we play during dinner with the set songs that you want.
Yeah,
and it was a
seven-piece
band.
Big band.
7-piece band for basically what, So, but again, I think that's also comes down to like, please just trust your wedding planner.
Yeah.
Like, I would have picked that up. I would have been like, hey, you've got a 7-piece band, that's party time. Let's pick party songs.
Yeah, exactly.
So with your clients, Lydia, you've got multiple avenues that we can send them through. We're going to put Lydia's Instagram up here somewhere so you can go stalk her and have a look. Where do the majority of your clients? Are you getting a lot of direct-ins from wedding planners and things?
We mainly, through Instagram, definitely, but I've been really hopeless pretty much since COVID on Instagram. Like, you
haven't been hopeless.
I rarely post. I post stories. I've been quite busy. But definitely through planners and word of mouth, absolutely word of mouth. Like people that see me and at weddings, they'll say, we saw this girl. But planners, I actually pretty much refuse not to do weddings without a planner.
I love to hear that.
So important.
Explain why.
You have to have one. So a direct booking, I would say, who's your planner?
Yeah.
That would be my first question, if they come direct, because quite frankly, it's too stressful without one.
Yeah.
And it's in my terms and conditions.
That's an interesting perspective to have, because we have a very wide, broad range, and we launched something earlier this year basically called DIY packages. You can find it online now because we get approached a lot from couples that try to plan their own wedding, and they can book, as we've said, the venue, hair and makeup artist, photo, video, probably their florist, maybe a DJ, and then it's like, we're stuck. We need you to take over. How much is your fee? And we tell them, they're like, but we've already planned half the wedding. I'm like, no, you've booked your key suppliers. You don't have entertainment, like rider gear. You don't have vendor meals. You don't have lighting. You don't have sound. Like, do you have a floor plan explaining exactly where all this is going to go?
Which is quite common for us.
And I'm like, you haven't planned your wedding. Sorry, you've booked a couple suppliers. So we have now launched a DIY course where we walk people bit by bit. And when they hit, we've booked our entertainment, great. You need rider gear in 3 areas. You're going to need a generator with multiple cables. And we actually guide them through it. And we take over the last bits of planning, but we make it guidelines. So when they're booking a supplier, it's like, please factor in $1,000 for rider gear when you're booking the supplier. As soon as you've booked them, you need to email Bali Brides, we'll book your rider gear.
So you're actually planning for them anyway.
We are, but we're giving them a lot more control. So we literally say, here's all the catalogs of all the lighting. Pick one, this is the price, and then they just say, hey, this is what we want. So it's not a detailed conversation. They're not getting us to go, yellow's not going to go with the tableware that you've picked, and they're not getting the full planning thing. They've got all the resources to do it themselves, but we just book the final bits and pieces and show up on the day.
But show up on the day, that's
and
the
they're doing
main
it
thing as well.
They have to fill in our very detailed run sheet. You guys have both seen it. They have to fill that in themselves.
And then you execute.
And then we execute. So they get depends on the package, they get 2 calls with us. So one to ask questions, and then the second is to finalize it, make sure they've done everything correctly. And we run over all their suppliers, and then we execute it.
Well, there we go.
But it's interesting to hear that it's in your terms because you must have a wedding planner, because we tell people this is why you need a wedding planner. Why is it stressful for you if they don't have a wedding planner?
Just so many factors, just leading up to, like, I like to know what's happening. I'm quite,
Hands-on.
OCD when it comes to
we're like, you cannot have the cheap sound company
but
if Lydia is playing. She wants the nice sound company.
Exactly, because there's too many complications otherwise. But I don't know if you know this actually, but I studied events management in Melbourne.
I didn't know that, yeah.
And I used to do, when I was singing part-time in Melbourne, I was also an events manager, and I did a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
So for me, it's so important. I know behind the scene. I know how much work goes into it, as well as being a singer. And so for me, it's just super important to have someone there to, just ask questions, or someone on the day, and someone to liaise between the client, and then I'll call them eventually, but just to get that basic information. And I don't know, I think it's just super important. Everything.
Because with a band, and we have, honestly, I think we've done a lot of learning in the last 2 years. We're going to cover this on our next episode in our monthly recap. We've had a lot of company changes. But one of our things is when we book a band, we've just had this again. Clients complain. They're like, it's so expensive, the rider gear. Why do we need rider gear? Because you're showing up with your band, but we still need a lot of equipment for you. We need microphone stands and fold back speakers and all the cords and everything. Everything goes along with it. And what people don't realise, and this was the biggest complaint we've had in the last year, was we're going to bill you for every area you want your band in. because you need to come in and you need to sound check. We can't pick up that equipment and move it because there's not enough time to get everything perfect. So we've actually just changed our terms now. So we used to do sound last. Now sound gets done at the same time as entertainment. Before you book the band, tell me exactly where they're playing. Tell me what, are they in cocktail area, in this area, in that area? And then I'm going to quote you for the rider gear before you. I'll put them on hold, but I'm going to quote you for the rider gear because some people are like, $1,500 on sound and things. And I'm like, well, you've got them in, sometimes it's 4 areas. Ceremony, cocktail hour, dinner, and the party room.
It's always the most underestimated, but eventually the most crucial.
And also
absolutely.
And again, this is the difference between a mediocre company and a very good company. We have cheap, shitty sound companies we work with. And they're fine, they do the job, but there might be like on the speakers or something along those lines. And that's cheap and cheerful, probably $100.
Yeah.
But if we want good quality sound, which you are very particular that you have to have good quality sound, you're looking at 2 to 3 times the price of a crappy sound company, but it's worth it. The other day, the microphone, during the speeches, I'm literally like at the sound counter, like, what is going on? And I'm not an angry person. So even then, my anger's not anger. It's
Ryan
like, guys,
and I are running
fix it.
between the two
because the microphone's cutting out. But that's because you've picked, you're on a budget and you're like, I don't want to spend that much money on sound. Yeah, we can do it cheaper.
Because the client chose.
They don't choose the company, but we quote them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like, it's too expensive, we're on a budget. And then we're like, well, right, we can do it.
Okay, but understand the consequences then.
Yeah, exactly. And we literally have to explain that to them. Or sometimes they just don't have the budget full stop because they've spent $5,000 on flowers instead of $2,000. And they're like, we need to bring our budget down $3,000. Where can we make cutbacks? And I'm like,
so
sound, lighting. And we pick the other things. And we do explain to them, like, the fairy lights the other day, they went out for 10 minutes. But that wasn't our fault.
Generator.
The bar company plugged in a light, the light caught on fire and it shorted the whole power. So we lost lighting.
Power.
No, it was on a generator, but they didn't check with the generator company before they plugged in. So I don't know. I wasn't there. I just saw the lights go out and I was like, ah. So yeah, there's like definitely a difference in pricing depending on the areas. So I think
whenever I book Lydia or anyone that needs a bit nice equipment, I'm always like Twin Brothers.
Yes. Yeah,
do you have a favourite light sound and lighting company?
Ooh, I don't think I can say, but I do have a few. you can
definitely say. You just can't tell us who you don't work with.
Yeah, I don't think I can say, but there's
look, I'm going to be very open and say you're probably my favourite band in Bali.
Oh, yeah.
Is anyone else going to get upset with me?
No. I mean, obviously, Twin Brothers are amazing.
Yeah.
We had one the other week and I will never use them.
Sorry?
We had a company the other day. I don't think I'll ever use them again. Who's your other favourite?
Well, I'm only going to say this because I want to give him a little plug.
Yeah.
So there's M Audio, and if anyone knows my percussionist, my amazing bongo player, he's just started a company. That's why you guys don't know it.
We had him.
Just started a company, and it's an audio company. It's all brand new equipment. It's a really good team, and
is he partnered?
But there's so many. Don't hate me, other audio.
Is he partnered with someone? Because he was at a wedding the other week, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he was on sound, but on the run sheet he wasn't on sound. It was Yanti had booked someone else.
I'm not quite sure, but there's just so many amazing.
I love seeing his little face though. He's so happy.
I've seen him a few times on other events as well.
Yeah. Because he works. If he doesn't have a gig,
that's great.
But anyway, there's so many amazing, incredible.
There are, but
like
eventually,
eventually,
the planners, you know what we require.
Yeah.
So you make sure it's there.
And I will say, you want the DJ decks.
The expensive DJ
decks than everyone else. I think I was having a conversation with you last year, and I was like, "Are you sure you need those ones? They're really expensive." Yes, Britta, I need them.
Yeah,
and then I think I was like, you know what? You can have them for the next event, not this one. The client doesn't have the budget. All right, princess. Next event, you can have them.
Princess Diva.
Princess Arshad.
I don't mind, because I've been in quite some situations where they supplied old, outdated equipment, which was partially working.
Yeah.
And eventually, I need to fulfill a job for like 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, eventually all eyes are on me.
We had a wedding where I don't know what I don't understand DJ decks, but Sammy was on that wedding, and I don't know what happened, but something wouldn't plug in. I was like, I don't understand it. Sound help.
No, there for that. Yeah, well then that's why we.
I'm a technical guy, so I can quickly find a solution.
Yeah.
Even it helps us also that we work together.
Yeah.
Like finding ways also to the sound engineers if something's wrong with the speakers or audio-wise. I always, when I come to an event, I'll walk around, even especially during the dinner moment. I will understand it's not too loud, is everything spread out correctly? With the front of house.
The position of the speakers to the dance floor, are they going to be blasting the guests that are seating? And that's why it's so...
That's why it's so important for a sound check. Like,
Yeah, exactly. The sound check is so important. But like companies like Azimuth, amazing. And last week I did an event with Azimuth.
Yeah.
And they've been around for so long and they're incredible, but all their equipment is brand new. Brand new. But that's the thing, when you've got like, and everyone's incredible in that team as well, but when you've got all the elements, all your equipment is out on the beach quite often or on the cliff. And, it's so easy to get, just get old so quickly. But last week with all the companies.
You must have been so happy.
I feel like in the last year, there's just been a
upgrade.
I
feel like everyone's got money. Post-COVID,
yes,
it was all average because no one had any money to maintain and things. And then now that we've got money, we're we're doing a big clean up in the office at the moment and doing maintenance on all of our equipment.
The sound this year's been amazing. Like, I haven't had one wedding that's been really, sometimes there's horror moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, but like it's been really good.
Yeah,
all the companies.
So when you come along with the band, I think, touching on this is probably the biggest complaint. Explain what rider gear is, because we always say then we're going to book rider gear, and we explain this to clients. But if they don't have a wedding planner or they're watching along at home and like planning their wedding, what is rider gear and why do you need it? So when we book you,
hospitality.
Yeah. Well, like if you were to
a few drinks.
So when we quote people, we say, here's a rough quote for a DJ and a band, because at the very beginning, like they don't know what they're going to spend. Here's a rough quote, DJ band, this does not include rider gear. So your rider gear, I know what it is, but what do you require if we were to book you to a wedding? What do you bring?
I bring myself, my headphones, and my music. And a good state of mind.
Should we laptop?
Positive energy.
Yes, sorry, my laptop.
Yeah, I was like, let's bring a laptop.
That's my laptop.
So what needs to be provided
plus
then?
a backup in case the laptop fails. I always have extra hard drives connected, so it's always.
We had a DJ last year, showed up, didn't bring his charger, and his laptop died. Lucky Kadek was on standby, our sound team.
Happened to me once. Yeah. And you learn from certain mistakes.
You got to make the mistake to learn.
Sure, this will never occur again.
Yeah.
DJ gear. That's only the gear I bring with myself. From the planner, I rely on all the DJ gear.
Yeah.
A proper DJ table.
Yeah.
Not
just a dining table.
Because people sometimes don't understand. If you have to work from a dining table, imagine that you're bent over for 5 hours. It's not so. It's stuck after 5 hours. Can't get up again.
We were sorting place cards the other day, leant over like this, and we'd only done like 20 names. I was like, oh my back. So I can't imagine.
It's killing. Yeah. For 5 hours, a speaker monitor on a stand on the right side, because I use my left ear for DJ.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, then I have my hospitality rider, but that's something different.
Yeah, that's food and drinks. We sort that out. I feel like we're pretty onto it most of the time with making sure.
But also the positioning, how we are positioned in accordance to the main PA, so the floor speakers. It's just like it's a rule of thumb. Rule? What is it? Sorry, which one? What's the right order?
Rule of thumb?
Rule of thumb.
Yeah,
okay.
you made me question that now.
I was like, thumb of rule?
Rule of thumb. Sorry. The performer always needs to be behind the PA. If it is live or it's the DJ, that's just the main priority.
And I think if you don't have a wedding planner, that's like such a massive thing. Like, and I say this all the time, people, they're like, we've fully planned the wedding. I was like, great, where's your floor plan where all the sound's going? What? And I'm like,
That's also the reason why I prefer to work only with wedding planners.
Yeah.
Also from experience, I had a couple of times that being direct with the client, and it was twice a failure. And since then I actually thought, no, it's just a wedding planner. So I even decline weddings, to be really honest.
Yeah.
If I don't feel confident. Because eventually you rely on me.
Yeah.
And you are marketing me towards the client as well, as a reliable DJ as well, and who's able to deliver. I have the same with you. Yeah. And I only work with ENOs who are committed to their work and who have a certain standard of
So you're picky with the wedding planners you work with. That's
Yes.
good, actually.
Yeah, so I prefer,
you as well?
Because I prefer to say yes to you as much as possible.
Yeah.
And instead of like just going for quantity, I prefer just that you can rely on me. Because if I just 4, 5, 6 times in a row say no, well, you pick someone else.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more of commitment.
I don't really pick someone else if it was a no. It'd be more like if you messed up and there was zero accountability. Yeah. Like that's my word of the month is accountability.
No, but I prefer to work with people I like to work with.
Yeah.
I love to work with you guys. Yeah. Ladies.
Is it because we're great hug receivers?
Yes.
And then for you, Lydia, a little bit different because you're a band.
Yeah.
You obviously come with yourself. Does the band bring equipment? What
band
do you bring?
only brings their instruments.
Yeah.
So
drum set,
or,
guitar.
bongos, guitar. I mean, essentially they have to drive here on a motorbike. So whatever they can fit on their back is what they can bring. And that's also why we could never bring the sound. And we're not even legally allowed to provide the sound because our guitars, or my guitar, is performer. So you can't cross over that at all. So people are always like, why don't you just bring it? Because, in Australia, people bring their own sound. And we're not allowed to.
But it's also a different company. Like you are a performer, you're not an electrician or sound or maintenance. Or
but what Lydia's saying, in say Australia or in Europe, there are companies they provide a full package.
Some of the bands that we work with, they do it, but I know for a fact they don't do it. They get it from another company and they mark the price up and then they give it to us.
Yeah, I think, look, I mean, also it's an extra hassle. There's an extra hassle I would not want to take on, with the generator and like all these things.
Where do we get power from? And this one's not working.
No, it's too much stress.
So you specialize in performing.
I'm just a singer. Just a singer. That's enough. I work hard, but that's it.
So for the band, we obviously need speakers,
mixing desk. You always need someone to, sound tech there, front of house. All the cabling, things need to be like gaffer taped down in so many, all that stuff. Yeah, there's a lot that's involved. The lighting.
Microphone, that's kind of important.
Microphone.
No, you just sing Alex like, no.
Yeah, microphones. Yeah, that's right.
kind of important. And then we need that for every area. Like
we do.
Yeah.
Every area you're going to sing and we need it for.
Yeah, and lighting, lighting's important as well.
You
like
can
make
see
sure
in the dark.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we're rocked up and hasn't been as much lighting. We're in the dark and I'm trying to sing and my guitarist can't see what's happening. But that doesn't happen anymore. And that's exactly why we need planners. That was more when I got booked directly, or it was just, 10 years ago when I first started.
When we were starting out wedding planning, I remember I went to one wedding and one of our newer planners who I was overseeing got there and I was like, the bar's in the dark. Because she'd booked lighting over the dinner tables but nowhere else. So we had to last minute order in lighting because I was like, you forgot this.
Oh my God.
But these are things, again, you make mistakes and you learn from them. But imagine being a client and you don't have those contacts to sort that out. The amount of things that go wrong behind the scenes that we just fix and no one ever figures it out that it's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And do you have what's your kind of music style?
I think, the only thing I'm not, why don't we say what isn't my music
That's
style?
probably easier, actually.
Because anything from jazz to R&B, hip hop, house music, EDM, all that stuff I can kind of cover. I think I just don't do heavy metal.
Yeah.
We touched on this earlier, but I guess more reggaeton.
Yeah.
I could do it, but it's not really, I don't have a million songs that I can do in that genre. Yeah. Not really so much rock, but I do AC/DC and things like that. So it's, but I guess they're the ones that I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think, Arshad, you're very similar. Do you have genres you won't go into, or you're pretty versatile across everything?
Well, there's a bit of the current Afro house that I just personally don't prefer to play. I don't like it. I find it quite boring.
Yeah. I feel like you do need to enjoy the music as well.
I need to enjoy it because it's a synergy between me, the audience and I.
Yeah.
We need to feel each other a bit. So if there's certain requirements from the client, and then I'll admit if I can do it or not. But in general, what am I talking about?
I just had this flashback to a wedding last year. Beautiful clients, Asian though, so they finished up pretty early. And I've just had this flashback to me and Britta on the dance floor. There's no one there, and we've insisted Arshad stay to play us Taylor Swift.
No, but that's the one with the ball. It's a ballroom dance floor, right? It's a ballroom dance floor.
It was at Latitude. But they were all in the pool and we were just teasing you. We're can't even keep the dance floor.
No, the moms were on the dance floor.
Yeah, and then
they were
later.
having a great time.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying it actually.
It was so funny. Me and Britta were play us some Taylor Swift because we were starting.
You guys were the biggest Swifties in.
We were starting to pack down because all the clients were in the pool and there's no way they're coming back. So we finished up an hour early.
Fine, but we turned the speaker and we all had a great time.
Yeah. But it was just funny because you're watching, you don't see them on the pool, and we've just got this video. I'll see if I can find it and put it up, of just me and Britta on the dance floor. And at one stage it was just the two mums, and we were just giving them so much crap from great dance floor, Arshad, but what you can't see is everyone's in the pool having the best time.
I did. I could
I love it.
That's why I was laughing.
Eventually, I'm quite versatile.
Yeah.
I've even done weddings where people requested Arabic music.
Or
foreign language music.
Yeah. Did you do any Indian weddings?
No.
Okay, because we don't do them either, but occasionally, in the past, we have, and we've just recommended our own.
I prefer to decline them.
Yeah.
But in general, I've done Greek, Arabic, Chinese weddings. As long as they provide me with a proper playlist on forehand, and I can collect the tracks, I'll find a way to blend it in.
Yeah.
And I just done a couple of weeks ago. It's like they supplied me so many Arabian.
I was with you.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah. That's what
They
Arabic
emailed
songs. It
me
was
later,
so
like
fun.
a week
It
later,
was
like,
so
wow,
fun.
how did you manage to pull this off? Like, okay, that's a skill set.
So fun.
Have you done any Estonian weddings? I have one coming up, and I've just recommended you. I'm
Maybe.
like, Arshad, probably Arshad, and I've got another one as well I'm about to book you for.
How many weddings have you
They've
done already?
specifically requested no swear words
How
and
many
songs.
weddings have you done here in the last years?
I've got no idea. I think the
Hundreds.
busiest was like, we're talking
Now, if you
thousands.
say from-
We're talking thousands.
Okay, I didn't reach 1,000 yet.
We're talking thousands.
Have you counted? You know how many
I
are up
wish
to?
I think around 700.
No.
We're about the
I've
same.
done more than that.
Well,
Only in
we're
Bali?
coming up to that many bookings.
Oh, okay.
No, but you travel around.
Yeah, I'm including, okay. Yeah.
That's quite some.
Wow.
So, Hans, if you said ask me Estonian, that could be.
Probably.
Occasionally we get like requests like from very specific European countries, and you're the only person I recommend for those. So I was like, Arshad, because he's been all through there.
Yeah.
But I've also got one coming out. They've specifically requested no swear words and songs. And I was like, you need a Western DJ because my local DJs.
I have no understanding.
Yeah. I mean, they can understand some of the simple words, but they don't know off the top of their heads. Like I could name probably, if you gave me a set list, I'd be like, that one's got swear words and that one's got swear words and that
And
one's
they
got swear
probably
words.
play breakup songs as well.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? We've got a local DJ we work with a lot, and they don't like. Obviously, they play songs and they like the vibe, but they don't understand the full meaning. And I will never forget. I was in cocktail hour at a wedding, and Shaggy, It Wasn't Me came on.
I was just thinking the same
and I
thing.
was like, okay, cool. But I'm walking around, and then I hear one of the mums go, "What an inappropriate song to play at a wedding." I was like, okay, I need to fix this.
I agree.
End of the evening,
I agree.
But you know how
Yeah, at
often,
the end of the evening, for sure.
You know how often I see this song on a request list? That
Really?
Song, that one and somebody I used to know. Like, why? Or Red
There's
Wine.
so many songs where
So
we
inappropriate.
get, I get requests like for even the ceremony, and this is actually one of my main things. And I always feel a bit rude doing this, but sometimes I have to go back to the client because I'm all about the words and the meaning behind the songs, and it might be the most beautiful, beautiful song that sounds so romantic, but it could be like Sam Smith, Not the Only One, not the only one, or like Adele, you know, all of Adele's songs are about breakups.
Yeah.
But they sound so beautiful.
Yeah.
So you just think, or even like Wicked Game, Chris Isaac is such a popular one for a ceremony. But I'll just say, hey, can we just change this lyric slightly?
Yeah.
You know, can we change this, you know, this
And
thing?
again, this
to
is
make
something
it more
you would not get with
romantic.
another supplier.
So it happens all the time, but with swear words as well. Like one time, and there's always grandparents sitting in the front, and the exit song for the client was "Cuff It" by Beyonce.
Sit on top.
I'm in the mood, so, and I'm thinking, and I'm like, what word can I put? Because I'm looking at these, you know, these people that probably don't want to hear the F word sung during the ceremony, quite frankly. And so I changed it to pump something up.
Yeah.
But like things like that, it's really important to like know your audience and kind of just change it.
And I think that's just the exact service you get with
with hiring a more premium supplier. I will never forget a couple of years ago, because obviously we've all got Instagram, we all watch each other's stories, and there was a beautiful hair and makeup artist, and I watched her video. She'd done a beautiful reel of a bride, and you know that song, who's it by? You're such a fucking whore. I love it.
Oh my God.
And she had that song over the reel, and I watched it, and then I rung her, and I was like, hey babe, just watching your Instagram stories. Did you listen to the lyrics of that song she posted? And she's like, no, it was just a nice beat. And I was like, babe, you need to listen to that right now because this is what it says. And she goes,
Before you post
oh my God. And she's fully tagged the bride in it as well. And she like was like, thank you so much. And then I spoke to her about it the next time, and she was like, I was so embarrassed. Like, thank you for like telling me.
Oh my God.
Because they just, and her English is fantastic.
Yeah.
But she just didn't listen to the words properly.
That's so funny.
It's so funny. What's like the most bizarre request you've had at a wedding? Like song-wise or dance-wise? Like have you had any really weird ones? Or dances?
Any crazy?
I saw someone on, like doing the boat. What's the, rock the boat?
Request.
That's so, I mean, there's just been so many. I can't pick
Any crazy stories?
Oh, yeah.
Eagle Rock, have you ever seen anyone
yeah,
naked
of
for
course.
that?
No, not naked, but always in the undies. But yeah.
They're always in there.
Did you know that was an Australian thing? Or like the first time you saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
the first time you saw it though, did you know what it was?
The biggest mess up I ever made. I never knew of horses that were birthed.
Oh,
when I came to
that's
Bali.
such a classic. Lydia's got a great cover on it.
I mean, for Australians, I get it. But when I just arrived there, I never heard of the song. and it was the closing song. And I downloaded the song, and for some reason, it wasn't Horses.
Oh.
It was Savage Garden. What was it?
Truly
Truly
Madly
Madly
Deeply.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So the couple were standing there, and I just played the song, and they looked at me. It's not Horses. Well, it says here Horses.
Oh gosh.
Whereas I was like learning curve.
Yes.
Since then I know Horses.
Now you know.
I think,
you will never forget Horses again.
Yep. Never.
Yeah.
Plus I think last year, the year before that, I had a wedding, only 20 guests, maybe less. They actually renewed their vows.
Yeah.
And it was quite an exclusive estate, and they made a ballroom dance floor because they were quite professional ballroom
Yeah,
dancers.
love that.
So
like
actually
Rihanna.
for 5 hours, I actually played for them.
Wow.
2 people, and it was like playing the waltz, and
Oh,
playing
that's
Rihanna,
beautiful, though.
and playing the waltz,
Yeah.
and like this is a bit of an
I
odd
feel like
combination.
that would be what
Yeah.
I'd want because I'm extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was quite an interesting gig. It was like, are they actually really appreciating my work, my effort? And they emailed me and like, we would like to meet you again at good time. I want to thank you. And okay, that's awesome.
Cute.
So it was a bit of a
Yeah.
different experience.
How do you get the dance floor pumping if it's not pumping? Like, have you got any special tips?
We cut off the track as soon as possible and switched
And
to
just
a
switch.
dance floor filler.
Yeah.
And she does the same.
Yeah, interaction as
Yeah.
well. Like if no one's like, you just literally run around and go, come on,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you just kind of
Yeah.
drag
I
them.
love watching you perform.
Yeah,
Like,
so do I.
it's just so much fun.
My favorite
Yeah.
part is the conga line.
Yeah, always like a
Yeah.
conga, always a sing along.
And
You
pull
just
it
get
off
into
every
everyone
time.
involved, and
But you pull it
also
off every time.
you have to.
I love that you bring the vibes through dinner as well, though. Like
That's
singing
my
through
around,
the tables,
getting-
walking
yeah.
around.
That's my favorite.
Getting
Doing a
other
dinner
people
set.
to
So when I
sing.
see a rundown
Only
and I'm
then
not
I've
on the
seen do
dinner
that.
set, when I'm not on the dinner, if I see like I've been booked for like say 2 cocktail hour sets and then 1 party set
Yeah.
and the ceremony, for example, then the dinner set's empty. I'm like, oh gosh. So I'll be like, come on guys, book me on the dinner. This is my
Yeah.
favorite part. Like, because it's just
Is it your favorite part?
I think so, because I mean I love every part of wedding. Like it's all got its good points, but for the dinner, it's a point where you can really build it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start off
And
really
read the crowd.
romantic and just kind of make it really beautiful. Everyone's talking, eating, the
Yeah.
thing kind of builds
It's like
it,
I'm
builds
really
it,
going to
build
show
it.
you
And
what
by
I'm
the
made
end,
of.
yeah, by the end, because everyone's sitting down and they're kind of more of a captive. You know,
Yeah.
by the end of the party set and things like that, people are off at the bar and in
Yeah.
the pool and. You know, so you want to kind of capture them when they're seated, and by the end, get everyone singing and
There was
kind
also a
of
bit
just
of an
sing-alongs.
indicator.
Can't take my eyes
Sweet
off you.
Caroline.
Sweet
Sweet
Caroline.
Caroline, every
you know,
time.
simply the best, or whatever the songs are. But that's I love doing that.
But interesting of the dinner part is also that you can understand the audience a bit.
Yeah.
You know, how they interact with certain songs, and it also helps you to.
Also, you're just watching in the background and figuring out what they like. That's smart.
Yeah.
Because some of
Yeah,
them,
because
like
also-
if the DJ's playing, like they do sing along to the DJ through dinner. Like it's a bit of a
Just
Yeah.
try to find a
Set
balance.
the
Or when
mood,
Lydia
yeah.
plays, always need to understand what is her playlist, so I don't clash with hers.
Yeah.
Hers is
Yeah.
primary, of course, and then from there just like go with the flow again.
Do you ever go into weddings blind where you have no idea what kind of style of
Oh,
music?
yeah. Sometimes I just don't get any no guideline. I just walk in, I just like, okay,
And then you just wing it and hope for the best.
and it just almost always works out.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty versatile and you're pretty good with the people, but I think it is one of the most important things. Part of our final calls with clients is we make them tell us music briefing. What songs do you love? What do you hate? What do you not? Like, you have to give us some sort of guideline.
So
Because
important.
everyone's got such different musical tastes. And like, personally, I hate songs without words. Like, that's just my biggest pet peeve. I don't love heavy metal or anything housey. That just
No,
doesn't
for
have
weddings,
lyrics.
it's sing-alongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
But
it's
not all of them
electronic
are.
or old
Yeah.
school, like whatever it is,
Yeah.
anything familiar.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And eventually, even all the cool people, they go clubbing or being cool the night of whatever. Eventually, in the wedding,
Yeah.
they all want to sing
I'll
along.
sing along.
And then
Always.
for you being a DJ, you obviously do consecutive sets. For Lydia, you explain to us how a band works because we explain this to our clients. But do you need a DJ or can you just have a band and build your own playlist? What's your personal recommendation?
I mean, I would always suggest a DJ for the later part of the evening and to like build it from ceremony to, you know, cocktail hour to dinner to, you know, a party set. And usually we work together a lot. And also there's a few DJ Sammy, of course, DJ Clay. But what we do, I think it's the perfect
Chivalrous
interaction that we build it up to that point. But I don't know. I think, wait, what was the question?
Well, you're only
just
doing
say.
sets, so you're not going 5 hours straight. You're doing sets of 45 minutes.
So that would be exhausting. So
Yeah.
it's so hot. First of all, we get there at say 1:30, 2 o'clock for
Yes.
sound check. keep in mind, usually it's in Uluwatu. We'll be traveling from, say, I'm in
like 2 hours.
Rawa, 2 hours each way,
Yeah.
right? So, and then on top of that, getting ready. So it's really quite a long day. Like, you know, you're going to be in your gown. But once you get there, it's just usually ceremony. So you do sound check at 2, ceremony will be at 4:30 or 5. Then you do the cocktail hour, which is 45 minutes. And then you do, say, the dinner set, which is another 45 minutes. And then usually after the first dance, which is the way we like to do it, to kind of get everyone around the dance floor, they'll do their first dance, which could be live or it could be us together or like just the DJ. And then we're like, hey, everyone get on the dance floor. And that's a 45-minute set, which is the most interactive because we get the bongo player on the dance floor. The saxophonist is running around. I'm running around. And now we've got the guitar who can run around as well. And the electric guitar, which can... So it all changes. Fun. It changes from acoustic, like normal, keyboard to guitar. Yeah. So it's a really fun shift.
This is exactly why I would say just...
Yes. But people don't understand. Like people are always like, oh, can you play the final sets till say 12 o'clock or 11 or whatever time it finishes with the DJ and they want that at the end?
No,
it's exhausting. Yeah. And by that point, I look like a drowned rat or like, I don't know, a tomato. Like it's just really, it's hot. And it's a long day.
So much energy you can get as a live performer.
Yeah, exactly.
So would you recommend booking you and a DJ, or is it like, could a client just build a Spotify playlist and then just switch to that, during cocktail or in between sets, or does that ruin the vibe?
I think a DJ, always.
It does depend on the...
Because
the amount of guests, the amount of guests, the budget, what kind of vibe do they aim for? Maybe they just want to keep it really laid back and it's not required.
Yeah.
But what about if you're doing a party set, and then they put their own playlist on? How would they do that? It's going to be weird.
With their phone, with their laptop?
Well, some of them do. Some people don't book a DJ. They might have like a band for a few sets and then they just make playlists. But my biggest thing is like...
For example, on the wedding on Saturday, just gone, they just had their own playlist and we heard the same song probably like 5 times that night.
Yeah.
We were like, is this song on again? Yep.
But is it because they're on a budget or what is the reason?
They had a band and then we just had songs for in between the band set.
Spotify.
So it was like, but they didn't make it long enough. So Maroon 5, was it Maroon 5? I heard that song like 5. And I literally looked over and I'm like, and I said to Unga, who was managing music, he goes, there's not enough songs, so it's just looping around. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Because some people do just make their own playlists because it's either budget or we want to manage the music.
I mean, you can't force things that if they just start on a budget and they still want a certain type of entertainment. If they're more band lovers, go for a band.
I always recommend both of my clients.
Ideally, I would say both as well. Because the DJ really we can really determine the vibe for the evening.
Well, also with the playlist, you've got that awkward, it doesn't sound like a lot, but there's like a second of silence between songs. Yeah. So the song finishes and it's like...
And they wait, they stop again.
Next?
You get a new one.
At least with a DJ, it's all being mixed, it's all smooth, it's nice transition, there's no stop.
And they're reading the crowd and they're knowing what. You can't decide before the day what's going to work at that time because you don't know the dance floor or what's going to be going. So it's very important.
With the bands, every band has different. So I've seen your packages. Mm-hmm. Most bands are like, we'll do 2 sets of 45 minutes or 2 sets of an hour, or we just have acoustic duo, or just explain a little bit about your band and give us a little plug on what you guys do.
Well, my band is incredible and it's taken a very long time to kind of hone and just figure out what we're doing and select the right. It's like a family. They're like my family. But I've got my main band, I'd say is Donnie Sachs, who's just incredible, just so talented and, loves to go out around the crowd. We've got Manda, who I've been with him, I think the longest, who's been in my band from 9 years ago. And he's the bongo percussionist extraordinaire.
I love him.
So fun. And then we've got Iwan, who's our incredible keyboardist. And he's been, I don't know how long, probably been 4 years together. And then we've got Reza, who I call him Carlos Santana of Indonesia. In fact, he's better. And he's just so amazing. And he's our guitarist. And then, of course, I've got DJs who I work with as well when they do the full band party package. Obviously, I've worked with Arshad so many times, a million times. DJ Sammy Sachs, which, gosh, we've known each other for so long and performed all over the world. You'll probably, you've definitely interviewed DJs. We've got DJ Clay, who's just arrived, actually. So he's got his
I have his jacket. We literally just found it in the office. No one picked it up. You know his jacket?
Oh, is it his?
Well, you said
I think it was Donnie's. Yeah.
Well, we've got someone's jacket. Yesterday the staff were doing
We'll pick it
cleanup,
up.
like, who does
I'll
this
pick
belong
it
to?
up.
And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
it was supposed to be picked up.
All right, well, there we go. And then obviously there's just a lot of other musicians. It depends if they want a violinist or if they want like a double bass or a contrabass, they call it here. So there's additional musicians who I can add to the mix, but that's my core.
Yeah, and what's the package that gets booked most? So I know that I personally will book your full DJ package most of the time. So that covers normally ceremony, a couple songs for ceremony. We'll do cocktail hour. You will do a acoustic fun dinner set, and then you've got one party set. Yeah. Is that the most popular, or
absolutely? I'd say 80% of the bookings are that. So, and that's why we created the package, because it just works.
It works,
It takes you from start to finish. It's got a nice flow, and it's the one that I'm probably the most, it's definitely the most popular. And then which is exhausting, especially when you do. Sometimes it's like
a big day.
It's a lot, especially in the high season sometimes.
But I have days that you just don't speak. Like,
you just have not really. Like I find that my voice always, because it's quite husky naturally. Yeah. Always by say 1:00, just before sound check, my voice will just come back to be. And also when I'm if I've done a gig the night before, it'll come back to me. I've never lost my.
Thank goodness. Touch some wood.
How many gigs can you do in a row?
Huh?
How many gigs would you be able to do in a row?
Well, there was one time which was COVID. In COVID, all the postponements and things came through. Like 2 years ago was it? When it was just like
one after the other.
And I was trying to take a lot of bookings because I thought I've lost so much money. It's been 3 years in Bali, 3 years of no real work because it's a travel destination and we do weddings and people didn't want to book, and they had to book in advance. So all the postponements came through. And it was really hard to try and fit in with all the other vendors and the planners to try and find that one day where we could all do it and fulfill our postponement, which was booked 4 years ago. Yeah. So that was really a tough time. But then on top of that, you wanted to make new money, right? You wanted to get an income again of all the money you've lost.
So it was like day after day after
day?
day?
So it was, I think it was a long stint. Yeah. But I took really good care of my voice. I think it was probably like 13.
In a row.
Jeez. Oh.
But
like lemon honey drinks, what do you even do to help your voice when?
Oh, so many things. Just like ginger tea and lemon honey, and there's a few kind of pills or tablets. I don't know. You just get them like Strepsil and all that stuff. But it's really more about just making sure you don't, you go home straight after. You wake up in the, you just kind of go to the gym. Like all that stuff really helps because you need to be pretty fit
and also balance
to do that.
Your performance, also keep your voice on.
So that was really hard. I just remember looking at my calendar going, good luck. And I went through it and they were all the same. Incredible. Rush, all the weddings were so fun. And I think that also that some of them downgraded not downgraded, but like changed the package. So if they had a certain credit with us and after COVID, they're like, look, we want you, but we just want to do the acoustic duo instead of the party package. So it actually helped a little bit because then I'd just be doing two sets with just, during the cocktail hour as opposed to doing. So it wasn't all party. It was changing. Yeah.
And then for you, Arshad, what's your most popular booking? Do you just come from dinner onwards? Would you do a ceremony all the way through? What's the most common thing?
I'm mostly booked from dinner onwards.
Yeah.
Because during ceremony, there's actually no purpose for me just to be there. And a 5-6 hour gig is quite intense as well. Yeah. Because you need to be fully focused on all the time. It's fortunate also to work with the lead together because then we have more or less a bit of breaks with each other.
Tag teaming,
we're tag teaming, and but normally
because you can't really leave the DJ booth, can you? Once you're in there, it's like we normally bring dinner
and just run to the restroom and run back. But you hardly have a moment to leave because actually every 2.5 minutes I need to make a transition. To keep the energy up constantly. So say on an evening, especially during the party hours, you have to play around. What is it? Around 90 to 100 tracks. Full mode. Wow. And then, people underestimate because you need to constantly anticipate what's happening. Does it work? Is there a downtime? Okay, I need to change it quickly. So, and you're building up through the evening. You can't start straight away with firing up the audience because
they're not there yet.
They're not there yet. What Lydia is able to do every single time, she gets the audience already hyped up, but you always have a moment that the audience, they just need a break. They just need to unwind a bit to recharge again and to get into the final 2 hours, hour and a half part of the evening.
That's a good point.
So sometimes couples come to me like, hey, get the dance floor up, get energized. Like I want to, but you just had dinner. You need to digest for a moment, have a few drinks, and get in the flow again.
Do you get many clients that do try and micromanage your playlist like that?
No, it happened occasionally. But what you mentioned as well is like what you had last time with the band, exactly in that right order. Maybe that happened a couple of times.
Yeah.
Really exactly play in the right order. I felt like a jukebox, like, why do you need me?
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? Like, besides the transitioning the songs, like, why have a DJ if you're going to tell them
just
exactly
stuck in
what
something else, and then the couple go, no, play exactly how I dress it in the playlist. Like, okay.
We've had a couple of them over the years.
Yeah.
It's something you can't avoid, and eventually you're there. You have to just commit to how you call that, to the gig that you're responsible for the evening. So we're there for them. Yeah. Eventually. It's not them for me. I'm there for them.
Yeah. Now, one of the questions we ask all the spies that we get on, you see a lot of venues. What's your favourite? Do you have a favourite or a top couple?
Kayanga Estate.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Well, I'm about to book you for a wedding there.
So many stairs.
I like Pandawa.
Oh, both Uluwatu. That seems to be the general consensus. Everyone loves Uluwatu.
The cliff. Yeah. Just unbeatable, really.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, I also, there's two. So the Ongasan as well. I really do love the Onga because there's so many different, and same with Kayangan. There's just so many options and spaces and just different.
Ongasan has also many options.
Yeah. So I think, is there anyone else?
Yeah.
I hate choosing these. I feel like
that was a very quick answer though.
It was because Kayangan, I just remember the first time I walked in and I go, wow. And always the weddings I do there are like, wow.
So like the people that have the big money.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, but Pandawa is gorgeous as well. You've got a wedding next week.
I find Pandawa functional.
Yes.
I like the multi-areas there.
Exactly. That's what I appreciate. And also the flexibility for you as wedding planners to really set up in any possible way because you have the space over there.
Yeah, definitely.
Where others are sometimes limited due to trees or some kind of architectural designs that doesn't.
Also the sound, like, you know, when you do certain venues and they've got the sound limitations and you've got the thing next door and, you know, you've got another competing sound. Like, so those ones are really quite just in their own world. You don't have to think about all the other things going on.
It's like Filosa and Atasombok if there's a wedding there both days.
And there's a few other ones, but I'm not.
I had a wedding at Filosa years ago, and there was an Indian wedding going on next door at the same time we were. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So that can be really tricky.
Yeah.
And are there any tips that you would give to couples that are still in the early stages of selecting their entertainment?
Do your research.
Yeah.
Do your research. If you want, you know, ask as many questions as you can. Go through all their Instagrams.
Communication is key.
Or whatever, you know, maybe ask, you know, speak to the planner or just organize a call even. Like, I'd be happy if they're just going, okay, can we ask you some? I'd be like, okay, cool. So, or my PA maybe would answer them all.
But because it's quite
if I was busy, but.
Yeah, ideally it's research. Also have a bit of, if required, communication beforehand. Just get a bit to know each other, have a click with each other. It is always nice when you meet each other because often I don't meet a couple beforehand, just get a playlist and I just show up.
Yeah, you're meeting a couple today though, aren't you? You've got a couple meeting today?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you are.
You like the couple meetings?
Yes, I enjoy it because it becomes a bit more personal.
Yeah.
You get a connection, you get a bit more of an understanding, and then also on the day they feel a bit also comfortable seeing you.
Yes.
You don't get that with the lower suppliers. They don't meet.
You don't. They just submit the request as you show up and there's no connection.
Yeah.
And often at the end of the evening, the couple would come, or to Lydia would come up to me like, oh, amazing. But it makes it a bit more personal.
Yeah, definitely.
So even Zoom call.
I agree. Yeah, I always do a call.
I didn't realize you met with couples, so that's really good to know. Where can we find you? If couples want to come see you, Lydia, tell us where you regularly play.
Well, I'm pretty much mainly just events, corporates, and weddings at the moment. And obviously, I travel a lot with work as well. So I'm in Europe next week, and you know, I've got India coming up, I've got Vietnam coming up. I do the Formula One Grand Prix. Like it's just I'm not always in one spot, but I think Alila Seminyak
every Sunday
is most Sundays, and I can't say all just because I do travel a little bit, but most Sundays during the high season for the sunset, and it's amazing. I've been with them since I
love coming and watching you there.
Yeah, so 10 years when they just opened. So that's my staple. That's my public.
So if you want to see Lydia play, check with, normally on Instagram you'll be posting, Lydia will be posting. You can see her most Sundays at sunset time at Lila Seminyak. I know where to find you.
Yeah, you know where to find me, but for weddings, it's a bit difficult. You can't walk into some wedding to hear me play.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think, or just like we meet.
Yeah, so we can arrange a meeting.
Or a Zoom call, that would be the most convenient.
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I am conscious that you have a client meeting shortly, so we'll wrap things up. Have you got anything else you want to add? No? Amazing. So, guys, we will put the Instagrams up, but for Arshad, there's not really much to see there, to be completely honest. So if you want to book him, doesn't matter. You have to have a wedding planner. So if you don't have a wedding planner...
You have a few links. You know, there are a few YouTube links and some articles online. That more or less
about you,
a couple
I just
review from couples.
He's amazing. He mixes well. He understands the crowd. We love him. He gives the best hugs.
But here's another lady.
She's the best band in Bali. I don't even compare because you are by far the best. Because nobody else gets the vibe going like Lydia. And that whole party set,
no one
DJ
does what
mix.
you do.
You can have these two together.
I appreciate that.
It is one of a kind.
It's quite unique for the island.
Unique selling point. You need to have that in business. You can't just come in and do what Lydia does because she's so unique. So if you are looking for entertainment, talk to your wedding planner. We'll quote you on the rider gear. And hopefully they're available. You do need to book in advance. So obviously we book our key suppliers very far out. So I know we're going to get a lot of people coming to us now after this one. Please book in advance because being very popular, there are limited dates. So make sure we get that locked in first. But thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We will see everyone in 2 weeks' time for another episode of Bali Weddings Unveiled, which is going to be our monthly recap. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.